A trusted leaker has shared footage from the CES 2026 show floor that appears to show Samsung demoing a prototype foldable phone with a dramatically reduced crease, so subtle you can only spot it when the light hits the screen at the right angle. And if this technology looks familiar, that's because it's also the kind of almost no crease folding OLED that's been rumored for Apple's first foldable device. TOOCES is where tech giants love to quietly flex the future before they officially announce it, and Samsung has a long history of using prototypes to signal what's coming next. This year, the buzz isn't about faster chips or brighter screens. It's about one thing foldable users have wanted since day one: a foldable display that doesn't scream foldable right down the middle. Now, Samsung confirmed anything. There's no official launch timeline attached to this prototype, and the company hasn't outright said this is the Galaxy Z Fold 8, but according to reporting from the CES 2026 floor, Samsung had two devices displayed in an open, unfolded position. The one on the left looked like a current generation Fold, likely a Galaxy Z Fold 7, while the device on the right sat under signage suggesting an advanced or creaseless display dot and that right-hand device. The crease, at least from what we can see, looks massively reduced dot in a short clip posted online. The center of the screen shows a faint bend only visible under shifting reflections. In normal viewing, the panel appears impressively smooth, especially compared to today's foldables, where the middle crease is obvious both visually and to the touch. If this is the display tech Samsung plans to ship in the Galaxy Z Fold 8, it could be the most meaningful hardware upgrade the Fold line has seen in years, because it directly addresses the most common complaint about foldable phones. And here's where things get even more interesting. This same next-gen folding OLED has been linked to Apple's foldable ambitions. Multiple reports over time have suggested Samsung Display is developing advanced foldable panels, not just for Samsung Electronics, but also to supply Apple, meaning the first foldable iPhone or foldable iPad could end up using a similar crease minimizing approach, just tuned for Apple's size, aspect ratio, and durability standards. So if Samsung is already showing it off at CES, even as a prototype, it suggests the technology is moving closer to mass production. As for timing, Samsung's next Fold is widely expected to launch in the usual summer window, typically around July, while Apple's first foldable device is still rumored for later, potentially landing by 2026. Nothing is confirmed, but the direction is clear. The foldable race is entering a new phase, and the crease is now the battleground. But the display isn't the only rumor heating up around the Galaxy Z Fold 8. Over the last few months, leaks and reports have pointed to major internal upgrades, especially battery and comfort. One of the most talked about claims is that the Galaxy Z Fold 8 could jump to a 5,000 mAh battery, up from the 4,400 mAh battery typically associated with the Z Fold 7 class of devices. If that increase is real, it matters a lot because battery life is still one of the hardest challenges in foldables. You're powering a huge internal display, often a second external display, and a flagship processor, all while fighting for space inside a thin folding chassis with a hinge mechanism taking up precious room. A bigger battery in a foldable is never just a bigger battery. It's an engineering puzzle, and that's why another rumor is grabbing attention. Weight. According to a recent report from Mayo Business newspaper, Samsung's goal with the Galaxy Z Fold 8 is to make it more comfortable to hold while also fitting that larger battery. Comfort can mean different things, like improved balance, better thickness distribution, or refined edges. But one measurable factor is weight. The report suggests the Galaxy Z Fold 8 could weigh around 200 grams. If that number holds up, it will be roughly 15 grams lighter than its predecessor class. And 15 grams might not sound huge on paper, but in hardware design, especially foldable hardware, dropping 15 grams, while upgrading the battery, is a serious accomplishment. To put into perspective, many premium slab phones live in that same weight range. An iPhone Pro model can sit a little above 200 grams depending on the generation, while a Plus-style phone might sit closer to 190 to just over 200 depending on materials and battery size. If Samsung can deliver a near 200 grams foldable that also houses a large internal screen, a complex hinge, and a 5,000 milliamp hours battery, it's not just competitive, it's a statement, because the truth is, foldables still fight a perception problem. People love the idea, but when they pick one up, the weight and thickness can instantly remind them they're holding something more complicated than a normal phone dot. So a lighter, smoother, bigger battery Galaxy Z Fold 8 could be Samsung's most mainstream-friendly fold yet, and Samsung may need that because the competition is getting serious, especially with Apple looming in the background. Samsung doesn't just want to improve foldables. Samsung wants to stay synonymous with foldables. For years, Samsung has dominated mindshare in the foldable market. But Apple entering the category, whether with a foldable iPhone, a foldable iPad, or something in between, would change the conversation overnight. Apple's strength isn't only hardware. It's polished, long-term software support, ecosystem integration, and a massive installed base of users already tied into iMessage, FaceTime, AirDrop, iCloud, Apple Watch, and Mac. If Apple launches a foldable that feels effortless, especially for people already living inside the Apple ecosystem, Samsung could face its toughest challenge yet in premium foldables. And that's likely why Samsung's broader strategy seems to be about variety and category coverage, not just one hero device. Alongside the Galaxy Z Fold 8 and Galaxy Z Flip 8, Samsung has also been linked to additional foldable form factors, often described as wider, more tablet-like designs. One name that keeps popping up in conversation is the Galaxy Wide Fold, positioned as a device that pushes foldables beyond the tall, narrow fold shape and towards something that feels more like a compact tablet that can fold down into a pocketable form. If Samsung commits to multiple foldable styles in the same generation, it can cover more user preferences. The Z Flip line for people who want compact style and convenience, the Z Fold line for power users who want phone plus tablet. Productivity, a wider foldable for people who prioritize reading, multitasking, and media in a more natural landscape-like layout. The upside is clear. More choice, more niches covered, and more reasons for buyers to stay with Samsung instead of waiting for Apple. But there's also a risk here: price. If Samsung's foldable lineup stays premium across the board, budget-conscious buyers could be left out. That creates an opening for competitors to grab the first foldable customer, the person curious about foldables, but not ready to pay flagship fold prices. And in tech, the first device someone buys often shapes brand loyalty for years. So, Samsung's balancing act is tricky. Push innovation, defend the premium tier, expand the lineup, and still keep the value story strong enough to prevent rivals from owning the affordable foldable segment. And regardless of how many models Samsung launches, one thing will decide whether the Galaxy Z Fold 8 era is a true breakthrough: real-world execution. Because a foldable isn't judged only by its specs. It's judged by the stuff you feel every day. Durability and hinge reliability after months of opening and closing, crease visibility over time. Not just on day one. Inner screen resistance to scratches and pressure, battery life under real multitasking. Not just light usage, heat management during gaming, camera use, and navigation software optimization for split screen, app continuity, and multitasking outer display usability when you don't want to unfold. If Samsung nails those fundamentals while delivering a foldable display that looks nearly seamless, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 could set a new standard for what normal foldables should look and feel like. And if Apple enters the market with a foldable that's more refined, tightly integrated, and competitively priced, Samsung's response has to be more than "we did it first." It has to be "we did it best," and "we did it for every type of user." So the big question isn't just whether the Galaxy Z Fold 8 will be crease-less. The real question is, Will Samsung finally make the foldable feel like the default, not the compromise? If the CES prototype is any hint, the crease problem may be close to solved, or at least reduced enough that most users stop thinking about it. At a rumored 5,000 milliamp hours battery, a potential weight drop to around 200 grams, and the pressure of Apple's foldable plans, and you've got the setup for one of Samsung's most important foldable launches yet.